All right, this is my second YouTube video, and what I'm doing today is I'm adding another update to my Harbor Freight bead roller. I've motorized it already, and now I am cutting keyways or broaching keyways into the dies for the Harbor Freight roller. So the way Harbor Freight has this set up, or the way it's designed, I guess, is that there is a set screw that screws in, and you slip the roller or the die onto the shaft, and then you tighten that set screw. And that's not going to hold. It's also not going to be quickly interchangeable. So what I decided to do is go ahead and put a 3/16 keyway into each of the dies. So this one's already been cut, and that key fits in there. And then I'll go ahead and mill a 3/16 groove on each of the shafts on the bead roller. And I think I'm going to do this with the gears on the bead roller as well, because they're only held in place with that set screw. So I'll go ahead and put a keyway in for those as well. That way I don't have to worry about them slipping. So what I did is I ordered a 3/16 Shars brooch that comes with the spacer. So the first time it goes through, it's going to be with no spacer. Second time it goes through is going to be with a spacer. The Harbor Freight shaft, everyone says that their 7/8 inside diameter dies will work on the Harbor Freight tool, which is true, it will. However, the 7/8 will not fit inside of the Harbor Freight dies. It's just a little bit too big. So rather than turning that down, what I did is I went ahead and I milled up or did a insert on my lathe and mill. I went ahead and cut it on the lathe to the right diameter. I left the shoulder here, and then I milled a 3/16 slot in it so that it fits into the Harbor Freight die. So in order to broach this, what I've been doing is I line up the hole with the key slot. And I figure that way if I ever do want to use the set screw along with the key, I can do that. I add a little bit of cutting fluid. I'm not adding a whole lot on this one just because this broach is already kind of dripping with cutting fluid, so I've got quite a bit on there. I made up two different spacers that allow me to cut. Now, you'll see when I do the second pass through, I have to go to the short spacer to start because the broach will not go far enough down in to allow me to use this long spacer for both of them. I'm doing this on a 20-ton shop press, and I have converted it over with an air over hydraulic jack, so I don't have to pump on it. And as soon as it touches, I can stop, release the jack. I found this usually will pull out the bottom pretty easily. Tap out all the little shavings. And then for the second pass, I take the insert out and I flip it over, and I go through from the opposite direction on the second pass. And what works really well is to just start the insert in that groove and then put the spacer in. The spacer slips all the way down in. I have to switch over to the small spacer on the press. I suppose I could turn this a little bit. Maybe it'll show up on the camera a little better that way. And to finish it off, I have to switch back over to my tall spacer. And it's probably hard to see, but there I have the 3/16 keyway broached into the die. For the Shars tool, when you order your brooch, you can order these individually or in a set. I just needed the 3/16, so I just went ahead and ordered just the size that I needed. You order the insert based on the inside diameter of the part that you're working with, so that's why I ordered the 7/8. And when I make other dies for this machine, I will make them with a 7/8 diameter hole, so that's why I didn't want to cut this down. And together with the brooch, the little spacer, and the insert, it's about $50, but this is really the only way to do it. So doing several sets, and I will do several more sets as I make custom pieces for it. Definitely worth it. The first one of these that I did on my Dake Arbor press, and that was quite a workout. It did do it successfully, and it turned out fine. But just doing the one, I could already feel it in my arms and my shoulders pulling on the arbor press. So I went ahead and I took my finger brake out of here and set it up so that I could do it here, and that was definitely the way to go. So if you don't have access to one of the shop presses and you do have access to an arbor press, they can be done on an arbor press. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hopefully I'll have more coming. Thank you.